Hello everyone, it's been a while since my last review. With the HD Remaster release of one of my favorite games of all time, I was compelled to make a video about it. And of course, also tell about all the extras in the game as well. Resident Evil HD Remaster was released in December 2014 for Japan and January 2015 for the US and Europe. The game was released in digital format only, which sucks. However, Japan got a physical release for the PlayStation 3. Which of course I imported because of fanboyism. The game comes in a large big black box with the iconic first zombie encounter. The bag features some iconic moments from the first part of the mansion, as well as some extras such as Wesker's report and the viral campaign BSAA costumes. Is Capcom still serious about the BSAA canon of the story? I really hope not. Inside we have the actual game with a Japanese front, and the same back cover as the cardboard box we saw before. The Japanese biohazard is cool to have in your collection, but for the importers out there, the cover is switchable and also features an English cover. The game has a gorgeous front manual with a cool looking game disc. Resident Evil HD Remaster comes along with a green hardcover artbook, which isn't too special, but still cool to have. And does feature some cool screens from in the game. And in my opinion, the coolest part of the collector's edition, a giant map of the mansion, completely done in the style of the game, just as you find them on the wall, old brownish paper, along with notes on rooms from Spencer, the creator of the mansion. On the back he also left a small diary note, very cool to have indeed. For this review however, I played the PS4 version. Yes, I bought the game twice and I will tell you why. I played the Japanese PS3 version in December and found out the Japanese have yes and no reversed from us Westerners. Cross is no and circle is yes for Japanese people, whereas we in the West, the US and Europe, see cross as yes and circle as no. This at least made it frustrating for me to play, considering I was constantly clicking OK on stuff when in actuality I wanted to cancel. And I guess it's burned in my mind. I couldn't get used to it, hence why I bought the PS4 digital edition when it was released. The PlayStation 4 version is superior, sporting 1080p but still 30 frames per second, whereas the PS3 version is 720p and 30 frames per second. Do you notice it much? Not really, but if you look closely there is a difference. Now let's get on with the actual game. Remasters, remakes and reboots. Sometimes people argue that they want new innovative titles instead of rehashed old crap. I am somewhere in the middle. It takes a considerably smaller team to brush up an old classic, than let's say make a new IP. Therefore, rather profitable for the developer, and with the right title a good time and throwback to an old classic for the fans. In general though, it's just poor beating the money out of your wallet attitude with a lot of remasters these days, hence the poor reception by fans. However, this isn't the case with the newly released Resident Evil HD Remaster. That was originally a remake of an older game. Many people welcomed the Resident Evil HD Remaster with open arms, and so did I. Riddle me this though. Why are people welcoming a remastered remake of the classic 1996 Resident Evil? Well, if you keep watching, I will tell you why this isn't your ordinary remaster and why you should buy it, if you haven't already. Resident Evil HD Remaster for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Xbox 360 is a welcome release indeed. The remaster of the 2002 remake featured better visuals, but also better voice acting. Although let's be real, Barry still has some epic lines.
A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich. A can of fizz. It's sure to yellow and mellow those things. Anyway, I think I'll go outside, get some fresh air for a change. A dining room. You! Freeze! Get away from him, Jill! He's insane!
This is my review of the newly released Resident Evil HD Remaster. Ever since I found out they would remaster Ico and Shadow of the Colossus for the PlayStation 3, I was hoping the Resident Evil remake from 2002 would get the same treatment. So I was anticipating this for a few years. However, like many, I was skeptical considering there were several widescreen limitations on the Wii U version and it being a Nintendo only property up until this point. But never mind that, it is finally here, and how does it hold up? Well, I'm pleased to say the remaster plays just as well as you remembered, looks just as good as you remembered, and is still just as scary as you remember it. The graphics were phenomenal in 2002, and in a new coat of HD paint they still look amazing. Everything is very well detailed and everything feels like it has a story to it. The 5.1 surround sound is amazing and I was very happy I invested in a proper sound system for my house. The game really comes alive if you crank up the volume, turn down the lights and immerse yourself. Resident Evil comes with a digital manual, which isn't too spectacular, and I only looked into it because, well, I made this review. The game also comes with a gallery, where you can view all the endings, which there are 12 of. 6 per character, all variations on who you rescued and when somebody dies, and if the mansion blows up, yes or no. Spoiler alert, by the way. However, I generally just either rescue everyone or no one. The game also features leaderboards, which in theory is awesome, but here they are very poorly done. Not always does your best result get uploaded. The difficulty doesn't matter, it's only time-based. Furthermore, there are no anti-cheating policies in place, whatsoever. The game has a lot of cheaters, which results in people topping the boards with a time of 0 seconds, or 1 second, or 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. It's not fair. This is the only criticism I have on the game, the poorly implemented leaderboards, which I hope they will fix in Resident Evil HD Remaster. In the options menu, you can find your standard tweakable options with only newly added 3D control scheme, which blows. Ha! I can finally truly say those tank controls are there for a reason, people. Have fun reorientating yourself after a camera switch. See, the point of tank controls is free movement regarding camera position. If you control the character with the analog stick like you would in a third-person action shooter with fixed camera angles, you're going to need to reposition yourself every camera shot. With the tank controls, forward is always forward. Therefore, if you run in a hallway and the camera switches 4 times, you will continue to move forward towards your original goal. But enough about that. Most people who will download this will play with the original controls anyway. Of course, when you start the game you can pick your character, Jill or Chris. Both have the same basic story, with the noticeable variations and teammates. Here you can also select your costume. After this is the difficulty. Very easy, easy, normal and hard. Remember, when you boot up the first time, mountain climbing isn't hard mode, it's normal mode. Hard mode becomes available after your first playthrough. Regardless of who you pick, the game opens with the same computer-generated introduction movie. A series of bizarre murders have taken place in the forest near Raccoon City. STARS Bravo team is sent in to investigate, but is not heard from again. STARS Alpha team is sent in to investigate and rescue Bravo team. The story picks up from here. Alpha team finds the helicopter crashed and is attacked by zombie dogs. They make a break for it and stumble upon a mansion in the middle of the woods. Making it safely inside, the team hears a gunshot. Here you take control of your character as you investigate. If you play as Jill, here is where Barry first starts researching the blood found, rubbing it over his fingers over and over. This is also where you can have your first alternate scene. There's of course the first epic zombie encounter, most of us remember. But if you handle the situation differently, then something else happens.
Who is it?
You! Freeze! Get away from him, Jill! He's insane! What the hell?
We better report this to Wesker.
After this, you are free to explore the mansion at your leisure. This is where the game shines, into making you believe you have free roam. However, the mansion has a lot of locked doors, and you need to unlock it, finding keys and solving puzzles. Sooner or later you will come to a graveyard and unlock a crypt. If you go down, you find your first key, and also a hint on how to progress further. You have to find 4 death masks. These are unlocked by unlocking more doors and finding out more about the mansion. After walking through the mansion, you will encounter one of the most fondly remembered diaries in the history of gaming. It's called Ugly Face, So Killed Him. A classic. You will also run into other survivors, like Richard, who has been bitten by a snake. If you locate the antidote within 10 minutes, he will survive. If you take longer, he will die. After saving Richard, you will unlock your first boss fight, and one of my favorite boss fights in any game, Yawn, a giant poisonous snake.
Payback time!
Thanks.
Richard will come to your aid, but gets even. Here you can take his assault shotgun.
Richard!
You know, it's amazing that after 13 years, the mansion still looks as good as it did when this game was just released. You know, just take a second and admire the pre-rendered backgrounds. After unlocking all the death masks, you will encounter an Alpha Crimson Head. Beating him will allow you to go to the courtyard, where you meet Lisa Trevor. One of the scarier additions to the newly Resident Evil remake. Fighting her isn't recommended, unless you have a rocket launcher, which, sadly, doesn't kill her for good. Making it past the courtyard, you will find the guardhouse, which houses spiders, plants and sharks. The shark tank is another greatly revisioned part of the original, with actual swimming sharks that come out of the water and bite you. Mind you though, this is the only time in the game you can have an instant death at full health. Hunter decapitations don't count, considering you need to be below 50% health to be decapitated. Here you also have a mini boss fight with a giant shark, which shouldn't cost you any ammo, considering you can just electrocute him. After this there is a small puzzle and it's on to Plant 42, a giant plant in the living room of the guardhouse. You have to shoot his center as soon as the flower opens up, however watch your head as he drops acid and can kick you off the scaffolding. After this you will encounter Wesker. He tells you to go back to the mansion, and with that new key you found in the guardhouse you just unlocked the rest of the mansion. This is also where you encounter your first hunter. Hunters are scary and should be cautiously dealt with. Your best bet is the assault shotgun with Chris, and they can take up to 3 to 4 shots to kill. However, with Jill's bazooka, mixed with acid rounds, you can kill them with 1 or 2 shots. So save your acid rounds for the hunters. You should have anywhere between 12 to 24 shots if you didn't spend any acid rounds. Plenty to kill 50 to 80% of the hunters you encounter, depending on your difficulty. See, this is the trick of Resident Evil. Your ammo is scarce, but if you know how to use it and when to use it, it's really not a problem. However, if it's your first or second time playing, you will have problems with this, but that's the beauty of the game. Moving through the mansion, you will also have your second John fight, in the library. Before it comes at you, get a few shots in. After that you can take him head on or guide him around the library bookcase. After you beat him, you will go to the second floor, which is only accessible via the elevator, and there you will find a battery. This battery is used in the courtyard. Again, a smart design choice. Remember the first time in the courtyard? You had to use the crank to drain the water, which in turn created a waterfall, making the entry to the caves inaccessible. You probably didn't even know it was there to begin with. Now that you have the battery to charge the elevator in the courtyard, you can stop the waterfall, and just go around with the elevator and enter the caves. This place is packed with hunters and dangerous passages. This is also where you fight the big boss spider, which if you have arachnophobia, it is quite scary, I heard. With Chris you can use the flamethrower to pack some damage, however you don't need to kill this guy, considering you can just bring your knife and start hacking away at the spiderweb doors. Of course there are some elaborate puzzles in this area as well. Here you also have the infamous broken flamethrower puzzle, which means going through a small area with Lisa running around, and this can be quite a scary part considering the camera doesn't show you where she is and can knock you down to red in one hit. The object of this area is to put the crate on the elevator, and oh my god, this sometimes can still fuck up. If you played this game multiple times, you should know that sometimes when you push the crate on the elevator, the game won't register it properly, which is frustrating. Later the elevator goes down, you crush the crate and get a broken flamethrower. Go back to Lisa and put the flamethrower back on the wall to unlock the door. Here you will go through Lisa's hideout, and actually be back in the cabin where you first were to pick up the prank. Make your way back to the mansion one final time and enter the catacombs beneath the mansion, which is ironic considering your adventure with the mansion begins and ends in the same room. Down the steps is Barry or Wesker, depending on who you are playing as. If you are playing as Jill, you encounter Barry, and you still have a bone to pick with him considering he left you for dead in the caves.
Barry!
You get to decide to give back Barry's gun, which if you do not, kills Barry, but lets you keep the best weapon in the game. A bigger magnum than the one you have and kills most everything in one hit. Except the first zombie in the game. You can fight Lisa here, although the smartest thing to do is push the 4 stones, which chains, on the altar. This will reveal the grave of Lisa's mother, and in her grief she jumps down the abyss beneath the altar. If you were reading all the materials, you should know that Lisa and her mother were prisoners in the mansion and were experimented on. Actually, Lisa is wearing her mother's skin on her head. Yeah, creepy. After your fight with Lisa Trevor, you will make it to a secret hidden laboratory, which looks stunning in this amazing new HD remaster. Of course there's a new enemy here as well, in the form of a mutated human zombie cockroach. It's a scary thought, and don't take these things too lightly either. If you are below 50% health, they can instantly kill you if they grab you from the ceiling. After a while you will get the final confrontation with Wesker, who set you up and used stars to experiment. Here you will encounter the Tyrant. This fight shouldn't be too hard, although he can be quite unforgiving on hard mode. But if you are playing on hard mode, you should be quite used to the game already. Depending on your actions, the security of the laboratory can be triggered, depending on several key decisions throughout the game. If you didn't trigger the self-destruct system, you head towards the helipad, and Brad Vickers just picks you up and that's it, you beat the game. However, the mansion and the Tyrant still remain intact. This is one of the bad endings. However, if you did employ the self-destruct system, there's another boss fight. It's the Tyrant. It is now a lot faster and has some new tricks. After a certain amount of damage, or if you manage to stay alive until the 30-second mark, Brad will throw down a rocket launcher to help you out. You know, if you wanted to help out, you could have just not fly away in the beginning. Now you need to equip the rocket launcher and fire away at the Tyrant. You may slap away the first rocket, but that second one is a doozy. In the original, I always enjoyed how if you blow him up, he is shattered in pieces. Please check out this awesome screenshot I made during one of my final battles. Now, you beat the game, but what is there to get? Well, 2 new modes are unlocked. Real Survivor mode, complete the game on hard. In this mode, the item boxes are not linked. This is a bit of a hassle, however if you put all the items in the item box near the courtyard, it's actually quite doable. One Dangerous Zombie mode is unlocked and automatically turned on when you complete the game with both Jill and Chris on normal. One Dangerous Zombie mode is the name, however it's turned on when you select Once Again mode on the game screen. It can't be turned off. In this mode, Forrest Spire comes back as a zombie with bandoliers of grenades strapped to him. You cannot shoot him without setting them off. If you do, the explosion will kill you and end the game. However, after returning from the guardhouse, he will no longer appear and the mansion will still be run with hunters. Invisible Enemy mode is unlocked when the game is completed twice on any difficulty. Like the name of the mode implies, every single enemy in the game is invisible. You really cannot see the enemies, only in mirrors and or water reflections. although dogs show their drool, so at least you can see where the dogs are. Why does no one mention this in reviews? It sounds harder than it is. You can beat this game on easy and then for fun try it again on normal. On normal it's quite difficult because there are a lot more zombies in the mansion. You can also unlock 2 special weapons. The Samurai Edge, beat the game on either normal or hard, under 5 hours, and it has unlimited ammo and you do not have to reload. The Rocket Launcher, beat the game on either normal or hard under 3 hours. However, this is not the same rocket launcher that you get in the final Tyrant bundle. And yes, this kills everything in one hit. You can also unlock different costumes. You have Jill's alternate costume number 1, which is military gear. Complete the game once with Jill on any difficulty. Jill's alternate costume 2, the Resident Evil 3 outfit. Clear the game twice with Jill on any difficulty. And then you have Chris' alternated costume and also Rebecca's alternate costume. Clear the game once with Chris on any difficulty. And the second Chris outfit, which is from Code Veronica X. Clear the game twice with Chris on any difficulty. And there are of course the BSAA costumes for both Chris and Jill. However, these are unlocked from the get-go. If you beat Real Survivor mode and Invisible Enemy mode, you get a letter from Shinji Mikami thanking you for playing the game all the way through 100%. And one of the new additions to this remaster are trophies and achievements. And I strongly recommend you get all of them. They are really fun to have. From all the obvious ones like kill the monster, kill that boss, beat the game with Jill, beat the game with Chris, save your partner, let your partner die, there are some that require some special skills. The one that is the hardest might be the CQC trophy. However, this trophy will pop if you play the game on easy, which I guess you should try. Real Survivor and Invisible Enemy mode are trophies as well. And there's also the Ink is for Squids trophy, which requires you to beat the game without saving. You need to play the game multiple times, letting certain people die as well. This would require a minimum of 4 playthroughs, however most likely will take more than 6. Take care of the Every Nook and Cranny trophy. Visiting all places on every map is what the description says, but what they actually mean is visit every room and also take 100% of the items. If you leave just one item somewhere, the trophy doesn't pop. Another tricky trophy might be the Don't Stop Running trophy, which requires you to finish the game within 3 hours, which you need to do to unlock the Starsenal trophy as well, get all the weapons, and to remind you, the Magnum you find in the courtyard is different from Barry's Magnum. The trophies might look difficult, but it's not that hard to platinum this game. Do it, it's quite a trip. This game also syncs up with the ResidentEvil.net, where you can view your game data a bit more in depth. Again, this is a bit disappointing and they could have gotten so much more out of it. However, it's cool to see everything you unlocked and how far you rank up on the game's completion chart. It's also good to see what you still need to do in order to unlock the trophies. I loved playing the HD version of the Resident Evil 2002 remake. The reason people are welcoming the remaster of a remake of an older game, to put it the way it is because of several key things. Up front, it's a return to form for Resident Evil, even though this isn't a new entry. Fans want the game to return to its horror atmosphere roots. They don't want drama horror, like Resident Evil 6. It's a stupid name and it's also a stupid concept. It also sends a message that if this game does well, Capcom might do something similar with Resident Evil 2 or have something like this in store for the newest entry in the series. For fans, it's a good reason to go back and relive a fan favorite, because that's what the remake is, a fan favorite. Resident Evil 4 was the mainstream audience's favorite Resident Evil. However, old school Resident Evil fans will swear by either the remake or Resident Evil 2. If you are still on the fence about getting this game, I have no trouble in saying, buy it anyway, you will most likely won't regret it. If you are a survival horror and or a Resident Evil fan, you already bought the game, beaten it a few times, and are now watching this because you are such a fanboy like me, who just can't get enough of the game. And if the fans have this reaction, that should tell you something about the game and its legacy. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also, my website www.sector7slums.net features regularly updated blog posts and such. I'm in an app for the website as well. You can find it in the Google Play Store. Just search for Sector 7 Slums or click on the link below this video. See you guys and thank you for watching.